For the love of God and the heart of a woman, my heart and lute, by Thomas Moore. I give thee all, I can no more, though pour the offering be. My heart and lute are all the store that I can bring to thee. A lute whose gentle song reveals the soul of love full well, and better far, a heart that feels much more than lute could tell. Though love and song may fail, alas, to keep life's cloud away, at least 'twill make them lighter pass, or gild them if they stay. And even if care, at moments, flings a discord over life's happy strain, let love but gently touch the strings, 'twill all be sweet again. Chapter 1. The afterlife is a strange phenomenon to most people. For most people, it is not an easy thing to adjust, to think ahead of what's going to happen in the afterlife. But this life seems so real and vibrant, and the afterlife seems a long way off. But in the afterlife, we are immortals, and the way of life is different. Alicia wanted to meet the man who contacted her in this life, but she can only wait until the afterlife to see him again. He has made a striking impression on her of the world he came from. Earth life seems mundane and ordinary after her experience with him. She is married now with 4 children. The day that she met him seems like a long time ago. Although he is no longer around, her memory of him has not faded. Throughout the years, her memory of him has lain in the corner of her mind, still bright and clear. All these thoughts rushed through her head as she drove down McLean Road to the grocery store. He had not told her that he was immortal, but she suspected that he possessed some power unbeknownst to her, a power you can only receive after this life. When he visited her, the feeling was glorious. She was on a spiritual high throughout the experience. She was single then. Now she was married. She had not told her husband about him, maybe just sketchy details of an experience she had. Her husband is a good man, but she yearned for this other man's presence. She did not know whether the yearning was for his spiritual experience or his friendship. However, something told her that she would see him again. Why did these thoughts occur to her at this moment? Alicia turned to get off McLean Road when she immediately, a motorist, apparently not seeing her, ran right into her. Alicia was going at 50 miles per hour when the motorist hit her. The crash was so severe that she bumped her head on the steering wheel. She found herself losing consciousness. She was fading fast. Was she going to die? These thoughts echoed in her head. Am I going to live? What about her children and her husband? Then suddenly she lost consciousness. Outside her car, other motorists gathered and were talking quickly and nodded to each other. They were discussing how to get the young woman out of her car. She was 40 years old, too young to die. It was St. Patrick's Eve. The motorists finally waited until the ambulance came. Without, the ambulance looked normal. However, its occupants were no ordinary people. Who had called the ambulance? No one knows. This was St. Patrick's Eve. Strange things have happened on this eve. As the ambulance journeyed with Alicia, the landscape of the area began to change with speed of the ambulance. They were going through a rift in the atmosphere, a transient shift in worlds. As they traveled this transient loop, which created a passage from one world to the next, Alicia lay unconscious in a coma. Whether she lived or not, no one knew. The ambulance traveled for half an hour and then arrived on the other side of the passage. They were into another world. The ambulance stopped. Its occupants took out Alicia's body on a stretcher. While she traveled through the passage, Alicia had stopped beating. Heart had stopped beating for half an hour. The occupants of the ambulance knew that was the only way she made it through the passage. They knew that the chance for her survival was slim, but they still are going to try. They knew only mortals survive the passage. They carried her body into the infirmary and transferred her to the chamber. They need only time now for her to revive. Medicine was given to her in her arm. However, she was now left to the elements of that world. The change on her body will occur slowly. It takes about an hour to complete. They can only leave her to time. An hour later, Alicia woke up with a start. The moment she opened her eyes, she knew she was in a different place. Is this heaven? She wondered. What is this strange feeling she felt? She was breathing, however she felt disoriented. She was in a chamber-like minuscule. As she moved to get up, she saw someone coming towards her. The chamber in which she lay was transparent, so she could see the figure coming towards her. The figure was a woman. The woman opened the chamber by releasing a button. She came face to face with the woman. Alicia opened her mouth, and the first question that she asked was, "What happened to me?" "You died as the earth life," said the woman. "You stopped breathing while you were in the continuum passage to this world, but you were still alive. It was the only way you could make it to this world. However, when you got to this world, a change came over your body. The change has to occur for you to survive this world." Alicia was still in shock, but she managed to ask, "Where am I?" "I've already told you. You are in another world. Now, it will take some time for you to adjust. Here, let me help you out." The woman took Alicia's hand, and Alicia put her feet over the side and got up. She was still woozy, so she stumbled a bit, her legs shaking. But she stood up, and the woman looked at her. "Hi," she said. "My name is Frances. Don't worry about who is left behind. Your family will be all right. They will make it to this world in their own time. Your husband might miss you a lot. However, you cannot do anything about that just now." She paused. "I have heard about you, Alicia, from a mutual friend, but we cannot discuss that just now. We have to get you situated and adjusted. You have lodgings at Goldburn Castle. Your lodgings will be fine for you just now. You will find that life here is much more enjoyable than the other world in which you came from. God has blessed us with the good things of this world. You will learn to enjoy it. This is the afterlife, the world of the immortals. You live forever, she said. Alicia could barely get all the information Francis gave her. She stood by herself, beginning to feel alone, but not afraid. She had begun to worry over Dan, her husband, but it seems like she has to learn to adjust to this world without him. After all, in the afterlife, are we not supposed to be happy? How will Dan live without her? He will have to. Francis looked at her and thought that for a while a look of sorrow came across Alicia's eyes, but it was only momentarily. Alicia's face relaxed, and Francis said, "Follow me this way." She followed Francis across the floor to another room, and Francis opened the door. The door led to a passageway and ended in a large platform. There were people waiting on the platform talking. Most of them were strangely dressed. Their clothing had an unfamiliar texture. They were of different colors. Francis turned to face her. She introduced Alicia to a young man who was standing on the platform. His name was Jerry. "Jerry will take you to Goulburn Castle. He will see to it that you are well taken care of. You will need to get new clothes. He will see to that." Jerry's face was a friendly one. "Welcome to the world of the immortals," he said, and shook her hand. He asked her name. Alicia told him. Jerry said to her, "Everyone travels by the train. You don't have to though, but we want you to make a transition from your world to this one very smoothly. That is why the train is provided." Francis, seeing that they were becoming acquainted, said goodbye to Alicia. She told her that she will see her again. The next train will be coming in a few minutes. As Jerry and Alicia spoke, the train came rolling in. Jerry and Alicia got on and took a seat. Jerry began explaining to her, "When you get to Goulburn Castle, you will be assigned a tutor. You will need to learn the basics to survive here. You will learn to use the powers that are available for you for food, transport, knowledge, and research. You will learn that the power is within you and learn to trust that mighty power that is available to us. Food is grown in the highlands and can be accessible, but for now, you will be provided food until you can learn to produce food by the use of your powers. You will have to learn about the council and the different levels in the council. Council meetings are kept once every week. Everybody attends council meeting. From there, you will find out the newest capabilities, news concerning the immortals, plans to be implemented, and also plans concerning how life will progress." The train came to a halt. They had reached their destination. Alicia was astounded by all Jerry had told her. Life is surely going to be different here. The platform which they had stopped at was outside in the open air. The countryside was beautiful to behold. There were trees everywhere with flowers nestling at their roots. Everywhere was lush green, dotted with pink, yellow, orange, and red flowers. The sky was still blue, but it was of a rich blue like the oceans of tropical islands back on Earth. There was a pathway leading from the platform through the trees, which disappeared in the foliage. "We can walk from here," said Jerry. By the time you get settled here, you will learn to levitate or even fly. These words shocked Alicia. How can someone fly? She thought. She decided to ask Jerry. How can one fly? She asked. He answered her. You read on earth that angels fly. Well, they do, and you can learn to do that also. You will learn about the seraphims. We have them here. They are God's highest messengers. They can also change from human form to powerful birds, and from that form into human again. The change is within the twinkling of an eye. They also visit your world on earth for special reasons. Usually it is either for a message from God or for protection or for the prevention of evil occurrences. You will meet one, Jerry said, and you will know what it is like to feel their presence. They are very powerful and very holy. One thing that you will learn is that the powers can be learned through progression. One can progress from an ordinary mortal to an angel, and from an angel to a seraphim, and there onwards up to godhood. Each of us can attain powers unto godhood, Jerry said. They were still walking on the path through the trees. The trees lined the path like a beautiful garden. Jerry was in mid-sentence when they suddenly came upon a huge clearing. Lo and behold, there was a huge castle in the clearing. It was fitted with turrets and huge walls. There were small trees and flowers along the walls facing Alicia and Jerry. The castle was painted in red and white. On either side of the path leading up to the castle was the richest green grass Alicia has ever seen. There were people strewn all about sitting on the grass. There were singles as well as families in groups. The castle was magnificent. We are here, said Jerry. Alicia and Jerry walked down the path to the castle. The pathway ended in a huge door. Jerry knocked on the door, and the door opened to reveal a man dressed in red and white. This is Alicia. She has lodgings here until she has adjusted and learned enough about our world, Jerry said. The man nodded and let them in. They walked through the doors into a huge hall. There were people milling around. There was a desk in the middle of the hall. Jerry went up to it and Alicia followed him behind. Jerry said to the woman at the desk, "Lodgings for Alicia Steers?" "Let me see," said the woman as she looked at the information kiosk on her desk. She touched the screen several times, then said, "Yes, it was called in 2 hours ago. They said that you have just arrived into this world." She looked at Alicia. "You're not afraid, are you?" the woman asked. "No, I'm not," said Alicia, "but I will need some time to get adjusted here." "Don't worry about that," said the woman. "You will learn all you can about adjusting here and living here. Your tutor will arrive in the morning for your first lesson. Be sure to learn all you can from her. She will teach you things that you can only comprehend here." Alicia smiled. "I will try," said Alicia. "Your lodgings are on the 40th floor, room 2010, near the turret section. You can take the room chute to the top and find your lodgings." The chute was a huge long tube that stretches from the bottom of the castle to the turrets. Within this tube, people can travel up and down the castle. Since it is your first time here, you might feel a little nauseated in the chute while it is traveling, the woman explained. Just hang on to the sides and you will be all right. Jerry and Alicia thanked the woman and left for the chute. The chute was located several yards behind the main desk. When Jerry and Alicia both got to the entrance of the chute, Jerry stopped for a moment. He said, "For you to get into the chute, you have to command it to open," he said at once. "Open door." Immediately the door slid to the one side, and Jerry gestured for Alicia to get in. She got in, then Jerry stepped in behind her. "The 40th floor," Jerry ordered in a commanding voice. At once, without any warning, the chute took off at rapid speed. Alicia was so frightened that she was knocked off balance because of the speed at which they were elevated. It took 2 minutes to get to the 40th floor. The chute stopped suddenly, then softly. They were there. Jerry said again, "Open door," and the door of the chute slid to the one side. Jerry took the hand of a shaking Alicia and led her out of the chute. He patted her on the back to comfort her. It didn't take them very long to find room 2010. As Alicia reached her hand towards the door, Jerry warned her not to touch the door. "The door cannot be opened ordinarily," said Jerry. "There's a small cavern next to the door, somewhere where you have to insert your hand." He said this while searching the outside of the door. "Found it," he said. He showed Alicia the little cavern that was located on the left side of the door. "Insert your hand, say your name, then say, 'Open door.'" Alicia did as she was told. She inserted her hand and said her name, then said, "Open door." Nothing happened for the first 3 seconds. "You will have to do it again," said Jerry, "but this time say, 'Open door,' in a loud and commanding voice." Alicia did it again. She inserted her hand and said in a commanding voice, "Open door." The door immediately slid quietly aside, and they stepped inside. The room was spacious. It had a normal sleeping bed, a lamp by the bedside, a bathroom, and a small refrigerator. There was a small room located on the left side that resembles a study. Alicia thought, "That is where her tutor will teach her." The room was brightly decorated with all types of colors. The main color was yellow. "Well, I hope you will have a good stay," said Jerry. "I will have to go, but I will be back. If you want to get in contact with me, just leave a message at the desk downstairs and I will come. You will make friends here. Do not worry. If you want to explore the outdoors, you can let me know too. So have fun." With those words, Jerry left her. End of chapter 1. For the love of God and the heart of a woman. My Heart and Lute by Thomas Moore. I give thee all, I can no more, though pour the offering be. My heart and lute are all the store that I can bring to thee. A lute whose gentle song reveals the soul of love full well, and better far, a heart that feels much more than lute could tell. Though love and song may fail, alas, to keep life's cloud away, at least 'twill make them lighter pass, or gild them if they stay. And even if care at moments, flings a discord over life's happy strain. Let love but gently touch the strings, 'twill all be sweet again. Chapter 1. The afterlife is a strange phenomenon to most people. For most people, it is not an easy thing to adjust, to think ahead of what's going to happen in the afterlife. But this life seems so real and vibrant, and the afterlife seems a long way off. But in the afterlife, we are immortals, and the way of life is different. Alicia wanted to meet the man who contacted her in this life, but she can only wait until the afterlife to see him again. He has made a striking impression on her of the world he came from. Earth life seems mundane and ordinary after her experience with him. She is married now with 4 children. The day that she met him seems like a long time ago. Although he is no longer around, her memory of him has not faded. Throughout the years, her memory of him has lain in the corner of her mind, still bright and clear. All these thoughts rushed through her head as she drove down McLean Road to the grocery store. He had not told her that he was immortal, but she suspected that he possessed some power unbeknownst to her, a power you can only receive after this life. When he visited her, the feeling was glorious. She was on a spiritual high throughout the experience. She was single then. Now she was married. She had not told her husband about him, maybe just sketchy details of an experience she had. Her husband is a good man, but she yearned for this other man's presence. She did not know whether the yearning was for his spiritual experience or his friendship. However, something told her that she would see him again. Why did these thoughts occur to her at this moment? Alicia turned to get off McLean Road when she immediately a motorist